Yo, what's up, guys? So I am here with my client, Ian. Ian, I think we've been working together for about 3, 4 months at this point. Can you talk a little bit about, you said you were a nice guy before. Like, can you talk a little bit about like what that was like? Like, you can talk about the dating side of things and kind of how women
Yeah,
treated you, but also like how that affected your personal life as well.
for sure. So what it was like for me, being like this nice guy before really working on my dating life with your help is it really showed up as hesitation and like hiding behind guilt. So what that means is, you have the typical situation where you see someone that you like, you see a girl, you like her, you want to do something, you want to make a move or just like move physically. But I used to always make up excuses as to why I can't or shouldn't um, go for what I want and be social and express how I was feeling. That used to be a struggle for me. And when I do make an effort to talk to someone, it used to be very safe and very friendly. And I would leave interactions feeling like I betrayed myself. I would say 70% of it showed up in my social life, and then
Hmm.
30% in regular day-to-day life. So, your interactions with family, clients, um, just people in general. Uh, Maybe you have people working for you, people you're working with, and not having the confidence to disagree with these people sometimes to get your point across.
Hmm.
That used to show up as well. So like avoiding conflict in general,
Yeah.
uh, not just avoiding going for what you want because of the reasons that we'll talk about.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
So
Cool. And what kind of results were you getting before we met in terms of dating? Like, how many dates were you going on?
before I started working with you, like I had only gone on a single date in my entire life.
Really? I didn't even know that, honestly.
Yes. Yes. And I knew that, and it was always in the back of my head. And it made me feel less capable. It made me feel it like made that feeling of being nice and safe even even more present because I knew that I knew that I only had that one experience. It wasn't horrible, but again, it was like a safe date. Now,
Hmm.
granted, I was not a lot younger, but in my high school years, that's actually one of the reasons. Looking back at that one experience that I had, even though I didn't know what I was doing, it was always a reminder that I missed an opportunity. And now I'm like okay um, with that thing happening, with that like one date not going how I wanted. But I
Hmm.
used to before working with you because I had a different mindset. I used to dwell on it whenever it would just come to mind, and I would like dwell on how I like messed it up. And
Hmm.
it was this like negative thought loop, you could call it. But when I started working with you, and we'll talk more about that, I was able to break that pattern of thinking, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, if you could talk a little bit about what it was like always dwelling on when things would go poorly, I think that impacts a lot of guys. Like, I think that's a problem a lot of guys have. So, how was that impacting you?
um, when when I would try to talk to someone, try to talk to a girl specifically, and I'd always have these like high hopes and this like story, this like ideal story in my head.
Hmm.
And I would get excited in the beginning, but then I would try. Um, I I would try. I wouldn't really try. Like
Yeah, yeah.
actually
You would try
be
the best you thought you could or whatever, right? Like you thought.
exactly like really friendly, really safe,
Mhm.
really kind of awkward.
Yeah.
I tried that, and then obviously wouldn't go anywhere because I was getting in my own way mentally. and then it wouldn't go well, and I would spend weeks being like, man, I'm such an idiot for thinking that that would work out. And I would have these like low self-esteem kind
Hmm.
of thoughts reinforcing that maybe I'm like not desirable, or maybe, you know, I'm not the type of person to have this thing that I want. And so all these kind of self-deprecating thoughts, you could say.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
it's like questioning, blaming.
Yeah. No, and that, dude, that's something that really affects like a lot of guys. So I'm glad that you talked about that. What made you, because a lot of guys deal with that. A lot of guys have these problems, and
Mm.
some guys are like, well, fuck it, I'll just deal with it, or
Right.
I'll just sit through and kind of wait until the right girl comes along or whatever. Um, what made you want to take a more direct approach to actually get coaching with this versus like trying to figure it out on your own or whatever? Like, what made you actually reach out and try to get some help?
It was mostly a couple bad experiences, but it was also a little bit of inspiration. So the bad experiences beside that like first date ever that I
Mm,
kept dwelling on at the time, I did attempt like a, an approach or two approaches, because I was reading a book that inspired me to like get into game. Um, so I thought I had everything I needed, but I tried applying some concepts and like go out there, but I was still getting in my own way somehow. Um, and just getting rejected and not knowing how to deal with that or why it was happening, um, lit a fire under me. And it made me think like, okay, I'm getting results in pretty much all areas of life. Like I had the mental health at least as well as 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 well as I thought I could get it. So I had the mental
mm,
health, I had the finances, um, I had like my life purpose, so I knew what I was like working on. I had my fitness, but I was just really confused as to why I couldn't um, handle the dating side of things. Um,
mhm,
there was like kind of an incongruency because I saw myself successful in many areas of life except for this, and it was like a thorn, like a just like s- you know,
mhm.
kind
Yeah.
of annoying me.
When you did start making a lot of those changes, like what were the changes in results that you started seeing? We can talk about where you're at now, but I want to talk about like the first like couple weeks because there was a pretty big shift in like your attitude. What were the big changes you noticed like right away?
Right away, um, I noticed that the problems that I thought existed were not out there, but they were inside here. Um, I used to think I used to think that it was the people that were the problem and not me for some reason. Like logically, if you were to ask me, "Oh, what's the problem?" then I would like logically answer, "Oh, it's me being getting in my own way." But at the time, that didn't register on like a physical level. It was all just like theory, but because I was pushed by the program and pushed by the coaches that were keeping me accountable to get out there, literally like walk out the door, which I've never done at the scale that I did in the first couple of weeks. That did something um, much deeper than theory. And the way I'd probably describe it is it was my ability to shut off my mind
Mhm.
and not think
Yeah.
when I'm taking action. That was probably the biggest shift is getting out of my head and like getting into my body and enjoying that I'm talking to people instead of it being a scary or anxiety inducing experience. Like I'd have all these like funny stories that would happen.
Yeah.
I'd run into people and they turn out to be way more interesting and it would make my day. Um,
Mhm.
another shift that happened kind of right away is instead of my approaches. and my social interactions feeling like I'm taking from the other person, they felt like I was giving the way that you guys teach how to have interactions with people.
Mm,
That was probably one of my biggest fears, and that was very likely what was fueling my nice guy syndrome, is feeling like I was taking. And because I was thinking that, that was one of the biggest reasons that I wasn't taking action before working with you guys. So the trainings, watching the trainings,
mhm,
talking with you, showed me that I was giving value, and that I had the right to be proud and confident because I was giving something to people. So that was also really, really huge. I'm much more um, free and able to enjoy myself and to do things that are more bold. So, for example, I'll give you an example of what that looks like. Um, I was at a thrift store and I posted about this in the group, and there was a basket to my left. It had like fake flowers.
mm.
And I saw a lady in the corner. And I was like, you know what would be funny? If I just grabbed one of these flowers and I just approach her and jokingly like offer her a flower.
Yeah.
And I did that. And what made that really different than any other interaction I had in my entire life is I did that because I thought it was funny, because I thought it was fun. I did not care what the result was going to be for the
Mhm.
first time in my life. And I literally told myself, I don't care what happens. I'm going to enjoy this. So I walk up to her and I say, "Excuse me, it's for you." And she just laughs and makes her day. We talk. I get her number. Again, I wasn't even planning
Mm.
on that. My intention was to have fun, but that's, the side effect of it. And, I'm going to have a date this week with her, and it's going to be really awesome.
So now that you're starting to get these results that you've talked about, getting on, actually, I guess, like, how many dates are you getting on now after coming in basically no dates to like now? How many dates are you getting, say, like per month?
If I'm going out 2 times a week
Mm,
minimum for like an hour, 2 hours, um, at the right time, and getting
mm,
some good volume in of just talking to people, um, like 2 dates a month,
okay.
and that's without online dating. And that's another thing actually we're working on now behind the scenes
Yeah.
is, but yeah, do a week without online dating, just in
Yeah.
person.
No, that's really good. I mean, I think a lot of guys like they'll underestimate, like, if you're getting on 2 dates per month just organically throughout your day, like going out 2 times just during the day, it's like you're too young to go to bars. So this is like, for context, this is without going out to bars, this is without night
Exactly.
game. This is like where, and that's where you can get most of your volume. Like it's purely just during the day, just meeting girls, getting two
Mhm.
dates a month. That's really good. How is that impacting other parts of your life? Like I'm sure that's got to have an impact on your confidence and things like that. What kind of, effects are you seeing?
I just feel a lot hungrier in life. I just feel like I can push more weights at the gym because I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the people I have in my life, the people I'm going to have in my life, people that I'm going to run into. And because I know that I'm going to do something about it next time, I feel unstoppable. And so at work, I'm like way more focused because I'm just, my self worth has gone up. Like, I can talk to anyone. If I can talk to anyone, I can do the difficult work at work. If I can talk to anyone, then I'm gonna pump, you know, harder weights. I'm gonna push myself more because I'm that type of person. And so having that social confidence just makes everything better. It
Yeah.
I don't know logically what it is,
Hmm.
but it's the knowing that you can get what you want that makes you pursue things on a much, I guess, aggressive level. Like you're more aggressive. Like you
Yeah.
have it in your system that, oh, you're the man.
If you could teach kind of one lesson to anybody watching this that made it all the way to the end, like, what would that be? What do you want them to take away from this?
The difference between the guys that get what they want and the guys that don't is that the guys that do get it, all they had to do was to go for it. It's that simple. To go for it with with all they got, giving it their all. That's it. If you don't ask for what you want, if you don't go, if you don't approach, you'll never get anything in life.